If you're thinking of visiting or just interested about Eastern State Penitentiary, then you're on the right video. I'll go over what you'll see here, some facts about this prison, and share my experience here on Travel Tricks. Before I get started, thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my channel, as I'm always sharing tricks to help you make your next vacation the best one yet. Eastern State Penitentiary is a former American prison in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania that was incarcerating criminals from 1829 until 1971. Today you can visit with the price of a ticket. If you arrive by car, there is paid parking right beside the prison. Or you can get here by transit. At the end of this video, I'll put up a video how to get a SEPTA key card for those that will bus here. Originally named Cherry Hill State Prison, construction on this site started in 1822 and opened on October 25, 1829. Eastern State is believed to be the first true penitentiary. This prison would have 7 corridors of heated and skylit cells that could hold up to 500 criminals. Eastern State Pen had what was called separate confinement as a way to rehabilitate. Originally, inmates were housed in cells that were constructed to allow prisoners to enter and leave the cell blocks through metal doors that were covered by a heavy wooden door. Some thought because the doors were so small, prisoners would have a harder time getting out, limiting the chance of attack or hurt a prison guard. When a prisoner left his cell, his head would be wrapped over with a hood to prevent him to be seen by other prisoners. Some interesting facts about Eastern State Penitentiary include: in 1924, the governor Gifford Pinchot sentenced a dog, that's right, a dog, named Pep, to a life sentence at Eastern State Pen for killing his wife's cat. Others, though, say the dog was brought to live in the prison to increase inmate morale. On April 1945, a major escape was planned and carried out by 12 inmates, including Willie Sutton, who in the time of 1 year dug a 97-foot, or for those that use metric, a 30-meter tunnel under the prison wall. During renovations in the 1930s, an additional 30 incomplete tunnels dug by inmates were found. That's just incredible. Staying on the subject of inmates, Clarence Kleindienst was a prison plaster worker and was believed to have put his own initials up on the wall of the courtyard in 1938, above the 2 windows shown here. Eastern State Pen wasn't just a prison for men. In fact, nearly 1,000 women were sent here during its early years. The first female prisoner was in 1831, just 2 years after the prison opened. And the last served a 20-year sentence for murder. She was transferred out to a place for females in 1923. Even though women came to Eastern State Pen, both men and women had very little contact with one another. Even children have served time here. In fact, the youngest prisoner to have ever been at Eastern State Pen was an 11-year-old African-American boy. He was sentenced for arson in 1840 for 5 years, but ended up serving an extra year for theft of personal property. In fact, between 1835 and 1850, 294 children and youth were imprisoned at Eastern State Penitentiary. The original design here was for 7 one-story cell blocks, but by the time the 3rd block was finished, the prison was already overcrowded. Cell blocks 4, 5, 6, and 7 would be made as 2-story cell blocks, added to accommodate the high amount of inmates brought to the prison. By 1913, Eastern State Penitentiary no longer supported the separate confinement system, and by 1926, construction was creating a second 3-story cell block. This would be known as Cell Block 14. Overcrowding and limited resources for the prisoners in 1933 would cause inmates to start fires in their cells and vandalize and riot. Moving up to 1961, this would be a year of two big moments. First, cell blocks would become desegregated, and the largest riot in Eastern State Pen's history would occur, causing chaos. Once the prison was reclaimed, though, discussions would be made in shutting down and closing the penitentiary permanently. By 1971, due to overcrowding and many more issues, the prison would then close for good. When visiting Eastern State Prison, there is a cell you can actually see some of the various items prisoners were attempting to use to escape. Here's some of those artifacts. You can also see programs sharing stories of prison and knowledge of how the prison was run. And you're also free to roam and explore the prison, cell block to cell block. Also check out the grounds. I felt how isolated and small just looking up at those stone walls. You can visit the greenhouse, which was added in the 1930s. And you can check out what is called the Hole. This was an underground cell block where prisoners were placed to solitary confinement. This was a place for the worst behaved inmates. Here there's no lights, no human contact, and very little food for up to 2 weeks. And probably the most popular part of the prison is Al Capone's cell. Arrested outside a movie theater, Al Capone would serve 7 months here. In that time, Capone's cell contained fine furniture, beautiful rugs, elegant paintings, and a classy radio. There's also a visit to Death Row, which is at cell block 15 from 1959 to 1961. This was where men sentenced to death were held. Just looking into the cells, these were holding men that not only did some horrific acts, but it gets real to know their fates were determined and were waiting for their demise. It's pretty surreal, but it was really interesting to see. The penitentiary's goal was to help criminals change and find spirituality, but many prisoners couldn't read and made reading the Bible a non-starter. But there was a Catholic chaplain office on site at the prison, and in 1924, a synagogue was built in the former exercise yards of Cell Block 7. Since has been fixed up, and today, the synagogue is open to visitors and is included in paid admission to see. They even have the original door on display. Eastern State Penitentiary is an eye-opening world of incarceration in the 19th and 20th century. You can use an audio tour or take up a walking tour with a guide. It's up to you. But I came out feeling blessed that this wasn't a world I was in. I felt closed in and small, but the visit was worth it. I highly suggest it. If you're curious to learn or watch more on Philadelphia, or if you're interested in getting a SEPTA key card, check out these videos. And please subscribe to my channel, Travel Tricks, as I'm always sharing tricks to help you make your next vacation the best one yet. Thank you.